Hey comics fans, it's me, Aaron, for a comics show. This is New Comics Now. We just got off of the Free Comic Book Day. It was insane. Thank you everyone who helped out, came out. We had the best day in the store history for sales and attendance, and just any way you slice it, it was the best day ever. We gave out so many free books, and we're going to be giving out free books every Saturday. This Saturday, I call it Free Comic Book May. I made that up in the shower one day, and I really did. I know other stores do it because I told them about it, and I own the .coms. Doesn't that count for something? You can check when the .coms are registered, and you know it was registered before these other stores started doing it. So anyway, that's not the point. The point is this Saturday we're going to have a lot of the books from this week that we ran out of towards the end of the day. We'll have the DC Futures End, the 2 Marvel books of the Guardians and Rock Raccoon, and a few other the books we'll have. And we'll have all these independent books that are the $1 first issues, a bunch of Image stuff, like everything. I'm talking Walking Dead, Saga, but also all those other ones, all the new ones, all the old ones, anything that's currently in stock as a $1 first issue, we will have, and it will be awesome. And the Geekies will be bumping with beer and grilled cheese sandwiches, so come out and have a good time. Free Comic Book Day had the DC Future End 0. This week is number 1. I really enjoyed this. I like the type of like fast-paced, in the middle of things, kick-ass action, has some great writers, Azzarello and Jeff Lemire, and it's using a lot of these characters that didn't really have much play. At the beginning of New 52, all these characters' books got canceled, like Grifter and Stormwatch and Firestorm and Hawkman, just like this who's who of these characters that have been kind of didn't quite work the first time out, and they've been kind of reworked in different ways. But the story starts 5 years after our current time with Batman Beyond, seriously, Batman Beyond, and he has like his little skeets named Alfred that tells him stuff, and he's going around trying to prevent this really bad thing in the future that you read in issue 0 that you got for free Comic Book Day. We'll have a bunch of those for free next to this in our store, and any store should do that. And seriously, if your store's out of that issue 0, order more. You get them for like a quarter, put them next to the first issue. This is a weekly book. Come on, do it. It's fun. And I enjoyed the book. It was a lot of crazy stuff, lots of damage, lots of death, lots of destruction, and you know, but it's all 5 years later, so it might not actually happen. They could fix it. You know, if Batman Beyond wins, then it's not going to actually happen. But enjoy it. Enjoy it without being upset about who may or may not die in this issue, because you know the future isn't necessarily written. If Legion of Superheroes taught us anything, it's that. Green Lantern Uprising came out, same great art with Billy Tan, Robin Venditti writing, and things are going into high gear with this big war, and Hal Jordan actually stepping it up. Like the first act, the first 10 issues of Venditti's run was kind of Hal Jordan deconstructed, put in a role he wasn't suited for as a leader. He's a maverick, not a leader, and things fell apart. And this is him regrouping, getting his will back, getting his groove back, and getting the abducted Green Lanterns back. So it's fun. This is a fill-in issue of Superman Batman, but it's a fill-in issue by Jeff Lemire. So you know it's good. Like seriously, it's good. It's the Atom who Jeff Lemire obviously has affinity towards, and it's the Ray Palmer Atom, the one that you know, wasn't actually the Atom in Frankenstein, and there was that female Atom in the Trinity War and beyond that we all know with the Crime Syndicate stuff. But this is a single issue story, a micro mission, a one-shot. It's the Atom and Superman going into Batman's brain. It was fun. Get it, you'll enjoy it. Doesn't matter if you're getting Batman, Superman. If you like Jeff Lemire's writing and you're a fan of the Atom, or either or any way that Venn diagram overlaps, get that issue. Detective, the second issue of the new run by the guys from Flash. I'm enjoying it. I'm liking it. It's more of a detective story. There's clues. There's different things going on, and I dig it. You know, it's not my favorite. Obviously, that's Scott Snyder, but I'm really liking the art. I am intrigued by the story, and I'm giving it a shot. And that's something. That's something pretty cool, because why do we need so many Batman books? Well, if this one's going to focus more on like detective stuff and Bruce Wayne being a detective and things like that, go for it. You know, I'm enjoying it. And finally, this is out. Scott Snyder's first part of the 0 year, The Secret City. Scott Snyder is doing really great things with Bruce Wayne, with young Bruce Wayne, a kind of 6 years ago Bruce Batman type story where he's putting on the mask for the first time and has these different flashbacks of him learning skills, like from things that are almost mundane, like where did he learn how to kind of evade cops in the Batmobile? Well, there's a little story in there about that. To big things like why has he never had a big romantic love interest? Well, because he has PTSD when it comes to loving women. When he saw the first one when he loved his mother get shot in the forehead, you know. Great stuff. The stuff with him and Commissioner Gordon's awesome, and it's really enriching this Batman Bruce mythos even more than Frank Miller did with Year One. So I said it. That's how I feel. You know, whatever. This is Year One for our generation, and you know, Forever Young, all that good stuff. Moving on to Marvel, Original Sin is the huge book. We have like lithographs, and we have like seriously like Original Sin eyeballs. I don't know if they actually bounce. I think they do bounce. Cool. So eyeballs, like his eyes get gouged out. I mean, you know, Watcher's dead. It's like Who Shot the Watcher is, you know, on the cover, and it's Jason Aaron, Mike Deodato, who you guys know, are class act. Jason Aaron is awesome, and it's a cool mystery of who killed the Watcher. There's a short list on who even knows he exists, and then of the people who know he exists, who could kill him in such a way to not get caught, to not sound any alarms, to just get away with it kind of scot-free, you know. Nick Fury Sr. is brought back from retirement to help with this detective mystery. A lot of crazy characters are brought together in a team by a mysterious person, and I was in love with the first issue. I really was. You know, the idea of like, why does the Watcher watch? Who shot the Watcher? Oh, the Watcher's dead. What's the point of the Watcher anyway? That didn't really get me. What got me was not that the Watcher's dead. I don't care about the Watcher, but who killed him, meaning what the hell is about to happen? Who is this big bad, our good guy turned bad, that is going to cause crap for everyone? And with the Watcher, he's seen everyone. He's seen everything everyone ever did. He's like, you know, the Old Testament God. You know, he's seen everything, and now whoever has these eyeballs knows everything, knows everyone's sin, knows what everyone has hidden. And what is that information going to do? What is this person going to do with that information, and how is it going to affect all these characters who have all these secrets, not just secret identities, but dark secrets that could tear them apart, tear apart their whole groups and their friendships and their, you know, it is sort of like Identity Crisis, of course, with what happened to Captain America with Illuminati and all that, but as it all is unraveling, you know, I got on the Marvel retailer site and read ahead some. It's freaking awesome, and I really love it. So if you are local to my shop, come in on Wednesday, and I'll give you a free Watcher eyeball to bounce around the parking lot. But, you know, don't do it in the parking lot. It might get hurt. Spider-Man, this is 1.1. It's Dan Slott. Apparently it's going to come out every other week when Amazing Spider-Man, the real one that's in current time frame continuity, isn't coming out. Hopefully they don't both ship on the same week because Marvel slipped schedule or something, but Dan Slott's writing is great. This is like the first 60 days of Spider-Man. This is the story that we know, but it's Dan Slott, so it's going to be more funny, but I like this issue, and I like Learning to Crawl. I can't get that song out of my head, though, like, learning to crawl, but ain't got webs, but and then it's like, why did he tell people that the web shooters were something he created? Just because he's just a cocky little kid, like, look, I created these web shooters. Now people know that they can just destroy this little thing, or he's going to run out of fluid. Just, you know, wait him out and he'll be out, instead of just pretending like that's part of his power. Why not be mysterious? What's wrong with you, Peter Parker? But it was a fun first issue. Give it a shot. Year One Spider-Man done really well by Dan Slott, and I'm sure it's going to have things where, because Dan Slott's writing both books, I'm sure it's going to have things as it goes where things that happened in this time period, in this first 60 days, are going to have ramifications to what Dan Slott's doing in the current stuff. So give it a shot. If you're a Spider-Man fan, seriously give it a shot. Moving on to Miles Morales, the Ultimate Spider-Man #1 is out. This was freaking insane. Like, seriously, I know people think that I just like everything. I liked a few things this week, but do not go to the last page of that issue. If you value anything, don't read any spoilers on the internet about this. Don't go to the last page on this. Just don't do it. It's a very well written and well drawn issue by Bendis and Marquez, and I like Miles. It was all that. It was everything that I wanted from it. Awesome first issue. Great to get new people into it. and then this crazy last page. So yeah, and don't worry if you haven't read any of the other stuff. It catches you up on the very first page. Just read all that crappy text that, you didn't get a comic to read text, but if you haven't, just read this text here and you're okay, and just go with it. So, good times. Cyclops. Now, I understand, why do we need a Cyclops ongoing book? That's silly. Why is it the young Cyclops? Why is it in space? What the hell? Seriously, it's just Greg Rucka. Greg Rucka could go to Marvel and DC probably and say, I want to write any character he wants to write, and they'd give it to him. Like, he'd go to DC and say, Ragman, and it's like, all right, cool. When's it coming? But anyway, it's space pirates. It's space pirates in space, and it's father-son bonding. It's a 16-year-old son, because it's young Cyclops, and his dad, who's a space pirate, and he's teaching him to think like a pirate. And basically, that's what, young Cyclops wants. He's so naive, he needs to think like a pirate. And I like the first issue. I'm a sucker for interpersonal stuff. I'm a sucker for, like, dad-lad stuff ever since the Boy Scouts. So give that a shot if you like Rucka, or if you like father-son stories. Moon Knight keeps getting better and better with these Warren Ellis single-issue type stories that build on each other. I love it. I love that these different personalities have different costumes and perhaps different powers now, and there's Mr. Knight, and there's Moon Knight, and there's however you pronounce that guy that I don't think is a silent K god. This issue was awesome. It was really great, and I'm loving this Moon Knight. It's seriously, Warren Ellis has become my favorite Moon Knight, and I've liked lots of Moon Knights. I like Bendis' Moon Knight. I like the Moon Knights before that. I've always liked Moon Knight, but this took that whole dynamic of the multiple personalities and just put it a little bit skewed more, and I'm really enjoying it. Iron Fist #2, just as good as #1. I like this writer-artist. I like what they're doing. If you like the first issue, keep getting it. Deadpool vs. Carnage 3 got even crazier than the first 2 issues. Seriously, like, this is possibly the best thing they could do with all those stupid 90s symbiotes back. And no, I'm not saying Carnage is stupid. Carnage is fine for what he is, this absurd serial killer, whatever. That's fine. Venom's fine for whatever he is, this bodybuilding rival photographer of Peter Parker. Yes, that's stupid, but still, they're fine. They're, at this point, part of the mythos. But remember all those crazy little characters that you can still see on that Spider-Man ride at Universal Studios? Like Shriek and whatever, that I don't even remember their names. They're in here, and they're with Deadpool, and they might not be on the side of Carnage. You'll have to wait and see. It was awesome. And finally, X-Men No More Humans by Mike Carey and Salvador Larroca. This is an original graphic novel. It's the first original graphic novel of the X-Men since God Love, Man Kills, which I loved that as a kid. I loved that book. It defined how I felt about mutants and religion. And the story is they wake up and there's no more humans. It's kind of like, reverse House of M, where there was no more mutants. There's no more humans, and they have to figure out why, maybe get them back. Some factions of mutants don't want them back. They're fighting amongst each other, and it's awesome. Like, haven't you wanted to read an X-Men book where there wasn't any of those pesky humans around and just see costume characters on every page and every panel? That's this. But it was heady, it was smart, it was fun. I loved it. So if you're excited at all about mutants, you deserve this. Get it. And that's all I have to say about that. It was awesome. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching, subscribing, commenting, all that good stuff, and sharing it. Keep doing that. That's fun. And if you're a local, come to our Free Comic Book May. Every Saturday in May, we'll give you free comics, with the final Saturday, a huge party where if you came to all the other ones, you get a free graphic novel. Here we have Geek Trivia on Tuesday. Wednesday, we'll have the big Original Sin type of party where we'll be giving out the bouncing glow-in-the-dark Watcher eyeballs. Thursday is a book signing with The Bones of Us from a guy that wrote all about his divorce in poetry. It's actually pretty funny. And karaoke's Friday, so come out and have a good time. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.